I understand now that back when I was 14 and got pregnant, um, I talk about that in several videos. After that, when I had recovered after having a DNC for supposable miscarriage around 3 months, I had to move back home, and that was hard because my mom had just kicked me out. And so that was when my uncle raped me. It's actually my great uncle, Poe Mooring, raped me when I was still medicated from the surgery. And I never would have, if you look at my old videos, like I never would have dreamed that my mom was letting him do that and that she was aware. I always have thought the things that happened were on accident. Now I realize that I was being molested by both of my parents, and they were obviously allowing the other to, and I was passed around. The point of this recording is just to say that I have really received some revelation downloads that of the 17 pregnancies I've had, I believe 7 miscarriages, and no, 7 miscarriages, and then I had Ruben died when I was around 5.5, 6 months pregnant, and then Ethan was murdered. That's completely different. But of the babies that didn't come to like a full normal pregnancy, I now know that through black magic, those babies were being sacrificed. And that I also have been given names of old friends down in Mississippi. We used to live in Gulfport, Mississippi, and then Meridian, Mississippi, when Tracy was stationed there with the Navy. When we lived in Meridian is when I lost Ruben. I know that my friend Emily, my old friend Emily Barbarina, and Julie Baldwin are actually part of some kind of coven or secret society. They and many others. Jason Gross was a pastor who actually performed the burial ceremony. So these people are into this whole like eating babies and sacrificing to, people would say sacrifice to the devil. I don't know how to put it exactly. It's just under the guise of Christianity, there's this like slaughtering of humans, and it's a way to feed off energy. So I don't know if Ruben's grave site would, I think that they did put a marker there. We couldn't afford to. We got a call years and years later about putting a marker at the grave, and I don't remember where it was exactly. But there's also some Mennonites that are about 30 minutes from Meridian, and now that I know what the Mennonites really are, it makes sense that there's other people doing the same stuff in pretty close proximity. So probably Ruben's grave would be empty. And I did a recording earlier this morning when I woke up and really got another revelation of, or was it last night, but there's a stench at the house where I had been living, for the last 18 years, where my soon-to-be ex and my children live right now. There's been a stench, I would say, for the last couple of years, and I remember asking Tracy, like, what do you think that is? And all I could think of was that our septic system wasn't draining properly, and the smell would be worse when the yard would get kind of like sopping wet from a lot of rain. But the download is that there's a body buried. That's what the stench is. And so now I realize my mom and my dad, I guess, all of them, like I think my dad's probably a pretty high-ranking warlock. I think my dad's been paying, there must have been some kind of inheritance left to me, but my dad's been paying Tracy. Tracy was hired, and it's a false marriage. He was hired to be a handler and keep me from, like, finding my true self and having a spiritual awakening and, waking up from the mirage of the illusion of this false world that we are programmed to accept. And so Jason Gross, Emily Barbarina, and her husband Hector, they have ties also to Brazil or other Mexican type countries where Hispanic speaking, Spanish speaking countries where I know the Mennonites also have heavy contact there. I feel like I'm getting downloads that there's like cocaine or some expensive money making drug and included in all of this. It isn't just like the human sacrifice and all that harvesting of energy is bad enough, but it actually has to do with like smuggling drugs. And I believe all of this will come out. Just to think that every person in my life, except for my innocent children who didn't defect, all 3 grown ones have defected, and possibly the next daughter down. But all of the people in my life were just posers, and I don't believe that my quote mom and dad, or even my birth mom and dad. And I was thinking my quote cousin Janine, who's quite a bit older than me, was my mom. And she might be, but maybe I was adopted. Maybe I was. All I know is that they did try to sacrifice me, and they couldn't. And they've been trying to kill me my whole life. And they've been molesting me my whole life. And ignoring me, neglecting me, setting me up to, kind of be groomed to where I would accept very poor treatment in relationships and in the marriage where I'm married to someone who is only there to make money off of me and to stop me from inheriting my birthright, basically. It's kind of similar to certain paradigms in the Bible, which is, of course, the secret society's manual. They have to tell us certain information, but they put it mixed with so many lies, and there's so much programming that all of society is under a heavy illusion brainwashing. But I haven't ever watched the Truman Show, but I have heard of it. I think I've probably have seen like a clip or something. I know it had Jim Carrey in it, I believe, but I think that's kind of like, it's sort of like the movie The Matrix. Like, they're telling us truths in some of these movies to a far greater extent than someone might imagine, but it's like my life has been like the Truman Show, like the movie or whatever it's called. Like everything is just a mirage. It's an illusion. And then when you wake up from it, you see it all. And every person was a handler. And there's definitely something on a spiritual level going on. It's almost like we are all have the potential to be a god, or we are, and it's just about finding your star. And there's supposed to be some northern lights visible in like over this 8-8 portal. I think that's my star shining. Since when is there northern lights this time of year in America? It's my star shining. It's all amazing. It's not amazing to find out you've been conned and your children have been molested and murdered and those kind of things, of course, but I do know it has been revealed to me that my purpose to come here to Earth this time, I've been here many times before. I'm an old soul, that's why I don't fit in with popular society. And I've always seen through certain things, and I've always questioned many things. But this is why I came here, was to take down this blood cult. Mormons, Mennonites, Church of Christ, and plenty of civilians. It includes military, cops, it includes, politicians. It includes a lot of people. But it's been confirmed to me that every single last person who worked against me will pay. They will be found out. There won't be one who goes without the karma hitting them, the recompense for what they have lived, this whole deceitful lie. And I am walking into a future that is so bright with my star shining and aligned, I've overcome every single obstacle that this whole illusion of a world has put up against me, which has been an awful lot.